Hey, how's it going everyone? It's Classic here again, and today we'll be looking at my Necromancer build for PvP and World versus World. Just a quick thing to start us off, like with the Mesmer build I did, I'm not sure if I mentioned it. No, in no ways do I claim these to be the best or, anything special or the meta or anything like that. It's just these are the types of build that I like to play, and I just thought I'd put them out there maybe to help you give some ideas on a build or to see whether this is a build you'd like to maybe at least try yourself. So, without further ado, we'll get straight into it. It is a 0, 20, 20, 30, 0 build. And like I do with each of the build videos, we'll look at the minor traits for each trait line first, and then we'll look into the major traits. Alright, so we'll start off with curses. Minor traits, we have Barbed Precision, which means critical hits will have a chance to cause bleeding. It's nice, you're a Necromancer, you want to be causing as much condition damage as possible. Yeah, I mean, it's what I feel the Necromancer does best out of any of the builds, really, is, apply conditions to your opponents and, just cause a bit of chaos here and there. You may struggle against Guardians with lots of condition removal. But other than that, it shouldn't be too bad. Furious Demise, you'll gain Fury when entering Death Shroud, which is fantastic. Each time you use your F1 skill and enter Death Shroud, you'll get 6 seconds of Fury, which is always nice to have. The Adept trait in Curses, Weakening Shroud. You will cast Enfeeble when entering Death Shroud, which, what does Enfeeble do? Well, it will cause bleeding and weakening of nearby foes. So you enter Death Shroud, it'll cause a little bit of damage. You have this minor trait here, which will give you 6 seconds of Fury, but you'll also cause 6 seconds of bleeding to do, bleeding damage, of course, and it will weaken your opponents for 2 seconds as well. So I mean, it's nice to have. That's only each time you enter Death Shroud, so you'll be popping in and out as you gain life force. Focused rituals. Well skills use ground targeting. Now you can take this if that's your thing, and this is the Wellomancer build that I put together. So each of your utilities will be wells. You have Well of Suffering, Well of Corruption, and Well of Darkness. I'd say definitely keep Well of Suffering and Well of Darkness, but it's up to you whether you want Well of Corruption or Well of Power. You can either convert conditions on allies into boons, or you can convert boons on foes into conditions. I prefer Well of Corruption because you have Guardians with lots of boons on them. I just tend to put that well down in the middle of an enemy Zerg, or if they're on point, if you're doing PvP, put that there. They'll lose all their boons, they'll get a few extra conditions on them, and then you just blast them with your 2, 3, and 5 skill on your staff as well. So that's there. More conditions. I prefer Well of Corruption, but that's personal preference. Even for your heal skill, I'd use Consume Conditions because it's a nice way for the Necromancer to get rid of them all. But if you so wish, you could use Well of Blood. I'm not a huge fan of it because of its huge cooldown, but I mean, if you can switch out if you feel like it, if you think it will help you in any way, it's certainly up to you. I won't tell you which heal skills you have to use, but personal preference for me, I choose Consume Conditions. On to Death Magic then. We have Reanimator, summon a Jagged Horror whenever you kill a foe. It's inconsequential, really. I mean, they don't last for long and they don't really cause that much damage. At least I don't feel they cause much damage, but it's, I suppose it's there. If you're feeling lonely, just killing people by yourself, you'll have a Jagged Horror for a few moments, which then you'll gain toughness for each minion you control because of Protection of the Horde. Now, we're not a Minion-Mancer build, so it doesn't really help us much, but for each time you kill an opponent and you have that little Jagged Horror, chasing you around, you'll just have extra 20 toughness. Oof. Makes all the difference, that does. It doesn't really. Well, it might do. Who knows? It could be the, life or death for you, whether you win, whether you lose. But 20, it's not a lot, considering, we don't have minions running around everywhere. But, each time you have that Jagged Horror, you'll just have a little bit more toughness, which is, I suppose, it's always nice to have. I'm not complaining about it, it's just not very useful. But it's a minor trait, so I suppose we'll just skip over it. Staff Mastery. You will reduce the recharges on staff skills by 20%, which is fantastic. We're putting down wells, we're putting down marks. It's probably best that these have, shorter cooldowns. Even, 5 skill, 32 seconds, there are large cooldowns on quite a few of these skills, but the more we can help ourselves, I'd say you just definitely take it. So staff mastery reduces recharge on your staff. So it's nice to have. It's there. It's very, very important for this build. You place down your wells, they're doing damage. Place down marks, they're doing damage. You want to spam these as much as possible, so that 20% recharge rate will certainly help a lot. Let's see. Greater marks. This will increase the area of your marks, and marks will become unblockable. This is fantastic. It really is. Your radius will be increased by 60, whatever the 60 size, so they're also unblockable, which is fantastic. You place down these marks, they cannot be blocked. You place down Mark of Blood, they will be hit with 8 seconds of bleeding. You put this down, they'll be hit with chilled and poison. You use this, they'll fear, they'll run away, scared. There's nothing they can do about it. They're unblockable, and the radius is increased. In PvP, especially, each one of these marks will take up the entire ring. So, you're sitting on, the point, you don't want it to be captured, place down a cheeky little Reaper's mark, they try to get onto your point, it's unblockable, they will be feared, and they'll flee for a second, which could help you capture that one point. So long as you stay on the point then, it's yours until you either die or, you go off point. You can hold on to that point. That extra second could count for your team capping the point. And, then you're getting your point, like, every tick. So, it's useful. It's extremely useful. Put down your Reaper's mark on the point. Also in World v World, if people are trying to capture your tower, just plump down Reaper's mark. It'll knock a few of them back for a bit, which could give time for a warrior to come in and banner the Lord or whatever. And it's handy to have. Fear's great. It's extremely underused, I feel, but timed right in the right situations, and it can make all the difference. So let's see. That was greater marks. On to blood magic then. Full of life. Gain regeneration when your health drops below the threshold. The health threshold is 90%. When your health drops below 90%, you just get 6 seconds of regen. Like I said, it's nice to have. It's a minor trait. It's not going to make a huge amount of difference, but the more regeneration you have, the more chance you have to keep your health up there, then the better. And no complaints about that then. Vampiric, you will siphon health whenever you hit a foe. This is great. You're getting more health back. Necromancers are fantastic. I think it's a great idea. You are just stealing the life force out of your enemies, quite literally. Each time you hit them, you will be stealing health off them, which is fantastic. It keeps you alive, it weakens your enemies, and it's an all-round great way to kill somebody. Blood to power. You gain additional power when your health is above the threshold. Your health is above 75%, you get an extra bit of power, extra 120 power, even. So that's nice. These minor traits, they certainly get better down the line. So that's a nice one to have. It's not going to be a huge difference, but that extra power while your health is up there will help you. And let's see, you're also stealing health whenever you hit a foe, which will give you a chance to stay above the 75% threshold, which will give you a chance to have more power. So it has great synergy. They work together well. Anyway, for your adepts, you'll be taking number 5. We have Vampiric Precision, which will siphon health whenever you critical hit. Siphon health whenever you hit a foe. Vampiric minor trait. Siphon health whenever you critical hit. Now, your Vampiric here will do a damage of 33 and life siphon healing of 32. I think I said that right. 33 and 32, yes. Here, you will be doing damage of 41 and 40. These will add together, and you're stealing lots of health from your opponents whilst still dealing damage to them, which is fantastic. Those two work extremely well together. Ritual Mastery. This will reduce the recharge on wells. This is the Necromancer Wellomancer build. We have all 3 wells, 4 if you change your heal skill to Well of Blood, and this reduces the recharge, which means you have a chance to spam these more along with spamming the marks because of the reduced recharge on staff, and it's just lots of area of effect chaos, which is, it's great. You jump in there, you don't even have to get close to combat really. There's a range of 900 on your wells, and then a range of 1,200 on these. You can just sit out the way, happily minding your own business, spamming conditions and everything onto your opponents, whilst not really getting that too much into the fray where you cause damage to yourself. And whilst all this is going on, you will be stealing health from your opponents. So it's fantastic. I enjoy it anyway. So that was Ritual Mastery. The last one here is Vampiric Rituals. Wells will also siphon health each time they pulse. We're stealing health again, people. We're stealing health from Vampiric, we're stealing health from Vampiric Precision, and now we're stealing health from Vampiric Rituals. Each one of these will siphon health and cause damage at the same time. You plump these down, they pulse. Each pulse, you get health. Each crit, you'll get health. Each time you damage an opponent, you'll be getting health back. It should theoretically be a pretty tanky build. I mean, I played quite a bit on my Necromancer, and I've managed, to stay alive and hold on to points for a significant amount of time to, help your team out to get the victory. So there you go. That was that. The blood magic is all about stealing your opponent's health and using it for yourself, which is fantastic. You're damaging them, you're getting health back yourself. I'm sorry, I ramble a little bit too much. I apologise for that. So that was that. That's all your traits. We'll have a look at your armour. Let's see. So, with PvP, it's just whatever. I'd suggest maybe going with Dire if you were doing World v World. Yeah, I'm not going to talk about PvE content because, if I'm honest, I really know very little about that. I'd definitely say, or at least I think, that the meta is usually berserkers everything, no matter what class you play. But hey, I stick to PvP and World versus World. And like with my Mesmer build, we'll be taking the Superior Rune of the Undead, which will give us extra condition damage and extra toughness. And then your last one, the 6, which is the 6th rune, which is the big one in most of these, is 5% of toughness becomes condition damage. So it's an extra little boost of condition damage, and you have your toughness throughout. So we're sitting at a nice 2,730 toughness, and the condition damage is in there somewhere. I'm not going to spend time trying to figure out which one it is. I'm sorry, I don't know. So yeah, that's your armor. Weapons, we're taking Dagger, just as the inconsequential one. I mean, I'd stick on staff most of the time because we're traded for it and we want to be causing as much area of effect damage as possible. But for those times, when you need to switch out and, number 2 on Dagger Life Siphon, steal some more health from your foe, then, that's always there. Also, say if you're in World v World and you need to just hit down a gate for a little bit, then you want to be really using Dagger 1 because it's a lot quicker to slash a gate down than it is to use this extremely slow and painful to use number 1 skill on staff. So yeah, that's there. The sigils on these will just be taking a superior sigil of force and a superior sigil of accuracy. So 5% extra damage and an extra 5% critical damage. Yeah, there's that. Staff, it's really up to you what you put in it. I like to put a superior sigil of earth on for 60% chance on critical to inflict bleeding. It's not great, but I mean, I have this on a lot of long-ranged weapons I have. Across my different classes, I choose the superior sigil of earth. I like it. I'm used to it. It's not really great on Necromancer or Mesmer, really, because your auto attack is too slow. It's not perfect, but when you do your others, if any of these crit, then you got a chance to cause some extra bleeding, which is there. Like I say, it's nice to have, but you can choose whatever sigils you want. I'm not saying that you have to choose the superior sigil of earth. If you feel anything else would be better, then by all means go for it. It's just personal preference here. I prefer the superior sigil of earth. For your trinket, I'd say take the Rabid Amulet for precision, toughness, and condition damage. It's up to you with this. You could take another if you want to go for the Carrion Amulet to swap out precision and toughness for power and vitality. I've looked at it with this build here. If I change out to Carrion Amulet, then I'll be sitting at 27,000 health, which is nice if you like a huge health pool, but I feel for this build, it's better to have the extra toughness than the extra vitality. But that's personal preference. Again, feel free to slot in whichever amulet you like. Although I would only suggest keeping it between Rabbit or Carrion. I wouldn't, choose any of the others. But that's just me. It's whatever you feel comfortable playing with. If there's a specific amulet you run most of the time on your classes, then go for it. It's up to you. I'd say Rabbit. That's just because the one I'm used to. Underwater, like I said, I don't enjoy water combat. It's not, I think it's dreadful. I mean, look, this still has a superior rune of divinity on it. So I don't do underwater combat. I don't enjoy it. I'm not very good at it. So, there's a spear of venom and trident of agony. I won't linger too much on that. You can choose whatever you want for those three. It's up to you. I'm not gonna waste time on that. Well, that's the build, really. I think that's pretty much everything. You want to be spamming your Death Shroud for Fury and Bleeding. You want to be spamming all your marks. You want to be spamming all the wells. It's you don't really have to think a lot with this build. You can just run in there and throw everything you have at your enemies. Also, Plague. That's your elite skill. I prefer Plague over your Lich form. Lich form if you prefer to do more damage, but I usually go into Plague and then just spam 2 for the blinds. Because you spam this, and so long as they're in the ring which appears when you're fighting, then they can't deal damage because they're blinded. Also on point, Well of Darkness. Put this down at your feet if you're on a point. If your opponents are trying to capture the point and they're standing on it, they'll be blinded and they won't be able to cause any damage to you, and then you can just hit them with the rest of your conditions. I think that's it for this build. That's Necromancer, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I didn't ramble too much, even though I know I have done. I'm rambling even now. I probably said too much as well, but I'm afraid that's something you're going to have to deal with if you watch these videos. You could just skip past it if you want. But yes, thank you very much for watching, and that's the Necromancer. I'll be working on other videos. I've probably got a warrior one coming out soon, and then I'll see where things go from there. Right, thank you all very much for watching. Toodaloo.